So I went to the butcher today and I got a pig heart, and so obviously this heart's not going to be exactly like a human's, but anatomically pig hearts are the closest to humans. So let's begin. It's going to be exciting. Ugh. Maybe I should have rinsed it before I started. Oh well. C'est la vie. Okay. My hands can't touch anything else once I've touched the heart. Here goes. Ah! Look at it. I've got a heart. I've got a heart. Okay, so looking at this, it looks like I think they've removed the pericardium because there's not really much of a sac around it, obviously. Unless this is it, but I don't think that's it. Maybe that's it. So, can you see it all right, Marie?
Yeah.
If you look at the top, these are just the ventricles. Ooh, this is cool. So you can see, I'm pretty sure that this is the... Man, this is hard to tell. But we have the right and the left ventricles in here. Okay, this one's the bigger ventricle, so I'm thinking that this one is going to be the right. Oh, look! There's the chordae tendineae. Ooh, come here. Looky. You see these little... Can you see these little attachments here?
Mm-hmm.
Look, there they are. And then here's the papillary muscles. Let's cut into this. So you can see here's the muscle wall. Ooh, look at, oh, this is so exciting. So here's our little chordae tendineae. Here's our papillary muscles. Here is the heart wall. And the inside is, what did it call it? Oh, it's not on this page and I can't touch it. Oh well. Anyways, you can see the inside of the ventricle. Woohoo! Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Looks like there's... Yeah, so... There's one side of the ventricle. And this is the bigger ventricle, so I'm assuming that this is the right ventricle. This isn't for sure though. Now, let's go into our other ventricle. Ooh, look at how, oh man, this is so muscular. Now that is what I call a big muscle. Holy crap. Look, you can see just all of the structures in there. I'm gonna cut through the chordae tendineae. You can see inside how it's got little ridges. And this right here is going to be, so here's our heart, here's our septum, the interventricular septum right here. If it were to go up higher, we would see the interatrial septum, but unfortunately the butcher chopped off the top. But I got this much and it is so cool. You can see there's the apex of it, of the heart. You can see where we would have our arteries and our coronary arteries and our veins and stuff here. But yeah, it's pretty fascinating. Our heart is broken. Anyways, yeah, there's the inside. Alright, that's it. That's all I got. Alright, did you start? Okay, so this is the part that I didn't tell you because I couldn't remember what it's called, but this is our trabeculae. All of our little ridges inside of here are trabeculae. Man, this is so cool! But my hands are freezing, so that's all I'm gonna show for now. Yep. Hi guys! I'm Jenny, and I'm going to teach you the first 4 sections of Module 1 for the functional anatomy of the heart and cardiac muscle histology. So, I'm going to apologize now because after I drew all this, I realized that once I put this on video, it's all going to look backwards. So, I'm going to take a few snapshots so that I can flip it around, and then I'll show you them a little later in the video. Anyways, so let's get started. For the functional anatomy of the heart, I drew this diagram that has really helped me out, just to show function, not the actual way a heart looks, obviously, because once you see it, you're going to be like, that's not what a heart looks like. But this is just to show function. So, it's pretty cool and pretty legit. I admit, I think I did really well. But anyways, so just to start, here this is showing, obviously we have 4 chambers within the heart. So we have the right atrium, the left atrium, the right ventricle, and the left ventricle. And so, as you can see, I showed that there is basically two sections to all of this. I put the lungs in the body. So the circulatory system that includes the lungs, that is going to be called our pulmonary circulation, because this is going to the lungs. And then this side where I have the body is our systemic circulation. So body, systemic, lungs, pulmonary. Okay? So as you can see, I drew in red just how this goes. So we have our lungs that are going into our left, or all of our, I guess, major systems are going to be, or arteries, yeah, arteries, red, right? From the lungs going into the left atrium. And then as it goes into the atrium, it's going to pass from this chamber of the heart into the left ventricle. And it's going to do that by going through our atrioventricular valve, which, of course, it's called atrioventricular because it connects the atrium to the ventricle. So, of course, it's going to be in the name. And this one is our bicuspid. So it's called a bicuspid because bi means 2, cuspid just means like little protrusions. So that is what, man, I gotta think on this one. So in order to open up this valve, it is attached to certain muscles called papillary muscles. Yes, papillary muscles, and chordae tendineae. So there are 2 of those chordae tendineae, my bad, that attach to this to open the valve. So that's why it's called a bicuspid, because there's 2 attachments to help open up this valve. So as the blood exits this chamber into the left ventricle, it then has another valve that it's going to go into to get into this, representing our aortic arch, whatever you want to call it. And so it passes this next valve, which is our aortic valve into the aortic arc. Anyways, so yeah, thus leading to our body. And here we have, as you can see, it's in red, indicating that this blood has been oxygenated because it's left the lungs and it's headed to the body. And once it's gone throughout the body and it's delivered oxygen to all of your tissues, it passes into our venous system, and heads into our right atrium. Once it's dumped into the first chamber, then again it goes through another valve, which is our atrioventricular valve. Again, same name, except this one is also called a tricuspid. So before I talked about bicuspid, meaning there's 2 of what we call those chordae tendineae that attach to a muscle and to the valve to open up those valves. This one has 3 of them. So tricuspid meaning 3. Alright, so now we're into the right ventricle of our heart, leading to our next passageway, which is our pulmonary valve. And so these 2 valves that are leaving from our ventricles, they're called semilunar valves. I don't know if you can see it very well. There's our semilunar valve, and I'm sorry it's backwards. But anyways, like I said, I'll show you a better picture of it a little later. So here we've named all of our valves, and we're showing that, again, once it's left the body, these tissues are lacking oxygen. So I put it in blue, and you can study out this chart, and it's really helpful. But, so yeah, we're following through here from the right atrium. We're going from the body, lacking oxygen, all the way to the right atrium, exiting through the atrioventricular valve, which is the tricuspid one, into the right ventricle, leading through the pulmonary valve into your pulmonary veins, which then circulate to your lungs to be reoxygenated. And then the cycle just continues over and over again. And yeah, so that is the general anatomy and function of the heart. So, anyways, there's a pretty good look at it. I'm pretty proud of this. I think it's really beautiful. All right, and then let's move on to the next part, which is our cardiac muscle histology. Actually, I think there's one more thing I needed to talk about. Oh yes, that's right. So this section, I printed out the reading, and I didn't have time to create a beautiful picture of the, I guess, the fibrous bag, and that covers the heart, which is the pericardium, and the 3 layers of the heart. So I'm just going to show you this picture from the reading that we did. So as you can see, right, I feel like I'm reading to a class or something, but anyways, as you can see, here we have our outer layer of the heart, which is going to be the sac that's covering the heart, and it consists of 2 layers. 1, 2. The first one is your fibrous pericardium. That is the outermost layer of that sac. Then the second layer inward is your parietal pericardium. So those encase the heart, and they have this cavity between the heart and this sac that's called the pericardial cavity. And within there is fluid, and it acts like a lubricant, and it keeps the heart safe. And the function of it, man, now I can't even remember what the function. So it says it allows the visceral pericardium to move independently of the parietal pericardium. Yeah, other than that, there's not a whole lot more to know about the function, other than it's a sac that contains the heart. Anyways, sorry. Alright, so on to the next 3 layers. So we have our very first, let's see. So we have our inner layer that's closest to the cavity, then our middle layer, and our outer layer. Our first layer that's closest to the cavity is called the visceral pericardium. And there you're going to see branches of coronary artery. Now, one of the questions in the the overview asks, how does the muscle or tissues of the heart get fed? And it is through these little coronary arteries, arteries that are interlaced inside of those muscles, and that is where oxygen is delivered to those areas to give the will basically give the nutrients, deliver nutrients and oxygen to the heart to keep it functioning. And yeah, so that answers that question on the overview questions. All right, so the next middle layer, which is the biggest layer, is going to be your myocardium layer. Obviously, it's going to be the biggest because that's your muscle. That's the bulk of it. That's what's going to be moving the heart. It's getting it pumping. And then on the inside is, well, it's called trabeculae on here, but it seems to be in the reading that most of the time it is called your endocardium. So what's cool is pericardium. Peri means around. So peri means it's going to be on the outside, and it covers the surface. So like parietal, pericardial, pericardium. What I like is just from, knowing a little bit about what the terminology is and what breaking down those words, you'll know that pericardial, peri means around. And then myo means muscle. And so that's going to indicate that that's the middle layer, that's the bulk of the heart, that's the muscle section. So myocardi, obviously indicating it's part of the heart, so muscle of the heart. And then over here, the endocardium, meaning endo, inside. So yeah, that's the farthest layer inside, going towards the center of the heart. So yeah, those are our layers of the heart. Next, just gotta make sure I've covered everything I need to. As far as the overview questions are. Now for the cardiac muscle histology. I drew another beautiful picture for you guys. It's gonna be so cute. Actually, it's not cute. It's just really cool. Makes me happy because I got to color today. So, look at this. Look at this bad boy. So, let's begin. A couple of things that we're going to need to learn, and again, I am so sorry that this is totally flipped backwards, but I will take a picture of it and include it in the video a little bit later, after I've discussed these things. Alright, now, so this right here is indicating like a close-up of the muscle of the heart. Now, as you can see, this is branched, and that's the way the muscle is in the heart, and it's only in the heart where it looks like this. And as you can see, it's sectioned off in several areas, and in the reading it discussed how we needed to know about what these little main sections are, or what these are that section off these cells. So this is the branched muscles and cells that make up the muscle of the heart, your cardiac muscle. And each of these little guys are your intercalated discs, which separate each cell, each of the cells within the heart. And within the intercalated discs, as you see, I made it bigger. This being our intercalated disc, which separates, or more like attaches, end to end of each of the cells. Now, each of these intercalated discs contains two main thingies, which are called gap junctions and desmosomes within them. Now, gap junctions that are contained inside of these intercalated discs, the gap junctions are like little passageways that are used to let things pass through, for communication, or even like nutrients, action potentials, things like that. That passes through our gap junctions. But also within our intercalated discs are what are called these desmosomes, which are also called fasciae adherens. And those are what attach each cell to each other. So I like the fact that it's called fasciae adherens. I like the word adhere, meaning, it's attaching, it's adhering them together, like Velcro. So that's kind of how I drew it, if you can't see very well, like little attachments. But anyways, yeah. So here, gap junctions, there are little gateways for communication, for action potentials, um, all of that stuff. Desmosomes, fasciae adherens. They adhere each cell together, like Velcro. So, anyways, those are the main points I remember from the overview page for the sections. But yeah, just continue going over those, and let me see if there's anything else. Oh, one other thing. And I have no idea how to say this one, but there's functional syncytium. Syncytium? Anyways, functional syncytium. So it discusses how, so we know that there's like millions of cells that are making up our heart, all of the muscles and just everything, all of the tissues around there. And so when all of those cells, because all of your heart beats as one. It's not like a section of your heart beats and then the other part does. But so to make that happen is what's called function syncytium. And it says that even though there are millions of cells in each chamber, functionally they act as a single cell. This arrangement is referred to as functional syncytium. So that's what's really cool and important about these gap junctions, is that because they pass communication around through all of these, we know that the heart, it needs to, of course it has the two beats of like the lub-dub, but each lub and each dub needs to be, let me show you. Let's pretend this is our heart. Atrium is the top of the heart, the two chambers, and the ventricles at the bottom. So the atrium creates the lub, and then the ventricles create the dub, right? And so in order for all of these cells, they need to contract at once to fill up the left ventricles with the blood that was within the atriums. So that function is called functional syncytium, when all of those cells contract together and they work in unison. So that's what that is about. And that is made possible because of the gap junctions and how they're able to pass all of the potentials to each other and let those cells act as one. So yeah, that's enough about that. The last thing that I needed to discuss was your T-tubules. T-tubules are, and it doesn't necessarily tell us exactly what they are, and I know we learned about it in Anatomy and Physiology 264, but just showing where T-tubules are, basically, is right here. If we see in our cool picture, all of these little lines right here, that is our T-tubules. And they innervate and branch along all of our sarcomeres. And those, as it says in the readings, the T-tubules in cardiac muscle are large and branch longitudinally with the cell. So, there you go. And yeah, that T-tubules are an important part of, helping with the contraction of the heart. And so, yeah, those are the main points that I needed to cover, and I hope this helps you out a little bit. So anyways, I hope you have a great night and a great week, and I hope you're excited for the test next week. Alright, have a good night, because it's nighttime here. Bye!